we are a resource, and I want to say even a valuable resource to everyone in the real estate industry. When you come across things like, what can I do with this property? When a potential seller is asking, when a potential buyer is looking for a specific property that you may or may not find for them and want to confirm what the options are in terms of development, in terms of future value, in terms of resolving existing issues on the property. For example, unpermitted garage conversion, room addition, patio cover, retaining wall, if it's hillside, and that's a whole different challenge. We can answer, we can clarify, we can meet you on site. We offer escrow inspections if things kind of develop after you do your due diligence and you're already kind of like a step into the process and just want to know facts. I'm going to be flat out honest and say, you're not always going to like what we say, because sometimes it will make either the buyer or seller hesitate. But at least you'll have facts. Now, we specialize in things like taking a property from just a basic, house and make it into SB9 2-unit development with an urban lot split, creating a new parcel, maximizing the potential, converting it to an income-producing property, getting it to positive cash flow as soon as possible. We literally do that on a daily basis. Now, when it comes down to your, component in all this, you represent the buyer, you represent the seller. We have issues with the property. Like I said, something turns out after you've opened escrow. We already have the 3% deposit in. We already have a buyer and a seller that are motivated to close the deal. And now you find out a 500 square foot addition that was built at some point and nobody looked at how it was done. What do you do? How long will it take? How much will it cost? Is this the right deal now for either the buyer or the seller to move forward with? Because if you represent the buyer and he's paying for 2,000 square feet, but on the assessor's records it's actually 1,500, what do you do? Should we move forward? Should we go back and negotiate? Our escrow inspection report would literally have all the answers to that. Can we legalize it within the escrow time frame? Maybe. Maybe we can do a 60 or a 90-day escrow and resolve everything while we're at it. Keep the price the same, keep the deal going. Or maybe it's impossible, and you want to know that so you don't waste more time and effort and move on to the next deal. You'll get the answers pretty quickly with us. Now, I'll tell you another thing. I get realtors calling me on average once, 2, 3 times a day, 2, 3 times a week, 2, 3 times a month, whatever the season is. And sometimes the questions could be completely different than one another, right? Whether if it's an unpermitted addition one day or a situation with a HOA the next day or some sort of a property history that just doesn't align with what the buyer or seller is looking for and what the reality actually presents. We'll be there to clarify, to answer. A couple of fun facts, okay? And I'm trying to keep this efficient because, again, you guys are doing things differently here and I really, really like it. Single family property, we all know can get an ADU, but did you know it can get 3? You can have a junior ADU, you can have an attached ADU and a detached ADU.
What does the zoning have?
ADUs are zoning independent. So ADUs are more associated to what exists there. I'm sure you've all came across an R3 property that just has a single family home on it. Single family ADU regulations will apply. If there's a duplex on it, it's multifamily ADU regulations. Multifamily ADUs now can have 8 ADUs. That's let's call it for an 8-unit building, you can get ADUs, so 1 to 1. Once you hit the 8, you go to a 40-unit building, you can only have 10, 25% of the existing. In fire areas like the Palisades, like Altadena, the city and county allow something that was never allowed before. They allow you to apply for permits and to construct the ADU before the main home, for whatever reason, money or uncertainty or whatever the case might be. They'll approve the ADU faster. You can build it faster because it's inherently smaller with less inspections, and move in while you're developing the actual house that got burned down. It's an interesting twist for the ADU because up until now, first you need to have a main home and the ADU comes after or at the same time. If it's a vacant lot, you can apply for the home and the ADU together and build them together, but not the ADU first unless it's a fire damaged area. Retroactively legalizing ADUs is another thing that we do. There are amnesty programs where you avoid violation and citation fees. Certain sizes of ADUs gets exemptions from impact fees, from school district fees, from development taxes, a lot of things that apply and can get pretty costly, actually. Multifamily ADUs. We had a lot of restrictions that kind of got loosened up along the way. So now, if somebody owns a fourplex, they can literally add 4 more units. Those units can be out of garages, they can be out of carports, and they can be on just vacant land. And of course, laundry rooms, gyms, offices, whatever you have in large apartment buildings, all those can get converted to ADUs. Parking, not required. Not required. Not in single family, not in multifamily. SB9, real quick about that because that's a super popular program. It's a super attractive program, particularly for investors. You come across any single family property, house in the front, big backyard in the back, you can take it up to 4 units. You can split it down the middle or even a 60-40 split, create a brand new parcel that has no lien on it, nothing but equity, sell it off separately, it's a separate parcel. Very, very, very attractive, very, very, very profitable for a developer. Now, another loosened up regulation that kicked in this year, HOAs, are no longer able to restrict ADUs. They can only restrict short-term rentals, but they cannot restrict having an ADU. They can add some design guidelines, right? Keep the garage door, if you're converting the garage, just kind of stick it on the exterior wall. They can ask for things like that, but they cannot say no anymore. Coastal Commission, right? It doesn't really apply to us here in the Valley, but Coastal Commission is under a state mandate to accelerate ADU permits. Compared to any other permit that can take over a year with the Coastal Commission, ADUs, 3 to 6 months, you know, at least that's the guideline. They don't always push through that fast. Another interesting twist for 2026, no more owner occupancy requirements for any kind of ADU, multifamily or single family. Yeah, yeah. Another thing, again, single family property can go up to 4 ADUs. If you split it down the middle for an SB9, then the new properties can individually get their own ADUs later in the process as well. Another interesting law, which I feel like you guys might find more attractive than anything else I have to talk about today. I wish more cities will adopt into it a little faster, but it is in the pipeline. You can soon, or in 5 cities already in California, but more soon, you can sell ADUs separately. Sell ADUs separately. It'll be under a condominium agreement. There will need to be an HOA. So if you have the original parcel and 1, 2, 3 ADUs, you sell one of them, you sell more. There's got to be an HOA agreement running, you know, the common areas and the agreements between the neighbors. It does have to be approved.
And how much has to be in that HOA and reserves, do you know?
I believe it's the same guidelines as any kind of HOA, but of course, you know, number of units matters. I don't know to say specifics, but you know, we'll learn those soon enough.
Who has to approve it?
The HOA agreement, DRE. But everything else is done with the city and the county. When you sell separately, we'll need, you know, civil engineer, we'll need to map out the new parcel, it'll need to get assigned a new parcel number, utility connections, and such. Any questions, I'll hang around, feel free, I'll be around. Thank you.